All right, so I think we've witnessed a miracle where Joe Giglio has been tech support for somebody else. Usually I'm tech support for Joe. Giglio's out here being tech support for NC State head coach Elliott Avent. Coach, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I got that. They didn't teach me this, Joe, at Red Oak Elementary School. I skipped this class.
Come on, Coach. We all went to State, or at least three of us went to State, not Darren Vaught. Like I know there's a building you can go to on State's campus that I spent a good chunk of time from 1997 through 2001 when I first met you, by the way, when I was at WKNC. Come on, I know you got tech support there.
I'm not just a tech guy. I don't know where Joe's at on this ladder, but I'm at the bottom rung of tech. I can promise you that.
All right. Well, I'll let Joe and Darren Vaught take this over because I know they got questions for you.
All right, Elliott Avent in the NCAA tournament for the 20th time in 27 seasons with NC State, trying to get to the Super Regional for the 6th time, trying to get to that College World Series for the 3rd time. Have you had a moment here to reflect this week on some of these accomplishments and just kind of getting back into the bracket? I know it's got to be a tremendous relief for you.
No, not reflect on past years, but I've done a lot of reflection on this year. This has been a really, 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 I don't know what word you want to use. You can call it tough. You can call it trying. This has been a year when when you start with 21 new players, and I think y'all were just talking about the transfer portal when I hopped on. So 21 new players, a lot of that due to the transfer portal or some of that. And you're thinking as a coach, how do you bring these people together? And I believe in the true team concept. I think that's what separates college from professional sports. One of the things is you get that true, what they used to call the old college try, where everybody comes together and everybody tries to pull more for each other than they do for themselves. And society through the years keeps changing that. And society tries as much as they can to teach you about self instead of about, others. And through that, I think college sports has become much more difficult. Now it suits some people. Some people like to bring in people, just bring people in, let them play and see where it works out and get a lot of talent. But the way we've always done it at NC State is get people here, get them to pull for one another, play for one another, develop them, and you have a chance to have something special toward the end of the year. And that's what we've always tried to do. This year has been the most difficult that we've ever had. Now, with that is 21 new players. With that is what I'm talking about, the societal changes through this affected college athletics. And then we didn't have a field for a great part of the season. We started out the fall, we kind of rushed through fall practice. We have 45 days to get 28 practices in, and we just kind of flew through it so they could start renovating our field. And so we'd be ready when the season started. And so we missed that time after practice, those 28 days, when you get on the field and get a lot of individual work, skill work with players and get to know them and bring people together, get a relationship going with players. We missed a great deal of that. And then there were some complications with getting the field ready. So I actually didn't get the field ready till right up the week of the season, right before we opened up. And so your preseason was kind of a blur. And there were times this year when I thought we could never get this team to this point. And so my reflection has been mostly on, I'm so proud of these guys for sticking with this thing. And toward the end of the year, you can see us coming together. Toward the end of the year, you can see us playing our best ball of the season. And you just were hoping it was good enough to get us to this point, because once you get over that threshold of postseason, it doesn't really matter what's beside your name, or 1 or 3 or 4 or what have you. It doesn't really matter. When you get to this point of the season, you feel like you have a chance to do some special things. And my reflection's only I'm so happy for this team, and I'm so happy for this program that we're at this point.
Elliott, I consider you an authority on being on the wrong end of an NCAA decision. So I'm curious on your opinion. Should Campbell be a host for this regional? Did they get the wrong end of the stick on this?
I don't have enough. You got to have, a lot of people can make opinions, and certainly I can have one, and maybe I'm more equipped to have an opinion because I've been in this business for a long time. But I know Campbell is certainly deserving of being a host with all the metrics that how they played, how they finished up. They won their tournament. RPI was in the top, 16. I don't know exactly what it was, but I kept up thus more. But I heard some stuff, and I think they were whatever they were in their RPI. So, yeah, they were certainly deserving. There's no question about it. And but I'm not the only one, Joe, that's been on the wrong end of NCAA decisions. They got a multitude of people.
I'm going to let Darren talk to you now because Darren has put up with our circus here today. And he has questions, like actual baseball questions for you. And I know this isn't – actually, it's really cool regional. I know it's not probably played in the spot it's supposed to be with South Carolina State, Campbell. I'm sure you've already seen your old friend Ray Tanner. So I'm sure there's been some reunion stuff there too. So I'm going to defer to Darren here.
Yeah, no. I appreciate you guys. Elliot, good to see you. It sounds like maybe – were you sweating this bid a little bit? I know when we talked later in the year, it was kind of like, no, we're in, we're fine. But this sounds like maybe you were sweating it a little bit.
Well, disappointment, prior disappointment breeds paranoia. And, last year when we didn't get in, when all the experts, and I'm talking about real experts. I mean, I consider y'all experts at what y'all do. I think y'all are fabulous. Obviously I have a personal friendship with each one of you. But through that friendship, I've learned of y'all's knowledge of all sports. And I think you become, and I'm so tickled this podcast, Joe and I had a conversation probably a month ago or maybe more. And I'm just so happy this podcast is not only that I'm on it, but I'm very happy how it's thriving and I'm hearing wonderful things and it just makes me really happy. But, last year, all the experts, Kendall Rogers, Aaron Fitt, Baseball America, Teddy, everybody had us as a 2 seed. So as a 2 seed, all you think about is where we're going. You know what I'm saying? That's your only concern.
Yeah.
When we didn't get in last year, it was the biggest shock I've had since I've been in college sports, other than them sending us home from Omaha. That's the 2 biggest shocks that I've had. And I think they were both poor decisions. And, but I was on the end, and our team was on the end of those decisions. So, yes, this year, did I sweat? I watched probably 172 games since we got beat by Miami and we were out of that tournament. I just sat there. I'm not good at tech, but I'm good at ESPN3 and taking that clicker to whatever pitch and whatever inning and whatever game I want to get to. And it seems like whoever I pulled for lost. So I became my own curse and their curse because whoever I was pulling for that supposedly were bubble with us, it just became a nightmare. Those last 3-4 days, Darren, were a nightmare for me. And I finally figured out how much my wife really, really loves me. For her to still be with me, and she not only sat there and saw it, she actually did a lot of it with me and sweated with me and felt with me. And it's just it was a tough 3 days. So when you hear your name called that Monday, it was the biggest elation for your team and relief that I can remember in a long time.
First time in your life you ever rooted for ECU, and look what it got you.
Yeah. I rooted hard too. You tell Cliff I rooted hard. I pulled hard.
Don't worry, I was cursing them for you, and James is going there, so I'm like adopting the Pirates now, my friend. But when they lost the Tulane, I'm like, damn it, did they just keep the Wolves out?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
All right, Darren, I think we got time for one more. You got one more?
Yeah, I got one more. This is a little bit more general, Elliot. You talked about sort of the nature by which this team came together for you. In what ways would you say they've grown the most since day one till now?
Partly, I think anytime you go through some perseverance things, you grow as a team. So obviously, we persevered a lot this year with some disappointments, a lot of tough losses, a lot of close losses, a lot of losses inexplicably that we did things at an inopportune time that would cost you a game, things you couldn't believe. I know somebody I was pulling for, Northeastern, dropped a pop-up to Wilmington won that game. So I think through some adversity there's a growth spurt there that can build some confidence. So I think that's how we've grown. And I think we've learned to pull for one another, accept that it's not all about me. And you finally come to grips with, I thought I was going to be the 3-hole hitter. I thought I was going to play center field. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was going to pitch every game. You know what I'm saying? Until, you accept or you may not accept your roles, but you learn how to deal with your role for the betterment of the team. I think that's the best way that we've grown and stuck together through it, because a lot of times through those things, you don't grow, you actually fall further apart. And I think that's been the most way, I'd say. And then this game, every time you play this game, you get better. You get better, you get more comfortable, and you build some confidence through some things that you're capable of doing, and you understand what you have to do in certain situations. So I think that's how we've grown. But trust me, this has been as much fun being here. Like I said, this could have been the most trying season, certainly the one that I remember the most, but you tend to remember the things in recent memory. So, but this has been one of the more challenging teams to try to get to this point. And so with that, it might be also the most rewarding.
Elliot Avent, head coach, NC State. We appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to breakfast. Thanks for working through.
I want to make sure y'all see this, especially Joe. This is special to all us right here. You see Chris Combs.
Oh, yes.
Being here in South Carolina, you mentioned Ray Tanner. Jimmy Toman's liable to show up down here. I got a text from Sammy Esposito this morning. Clark Cox, who used to be our grounds crew, he's the head of the facilities here. And there's just so many people that have an NC State tie. So I thought wearing this shirt to breakfast was appropriate.
You also already have your first win of the weekend because you got the computer to work and join us. So, you're 1-0 in Columbia.
You're hot, right? It's easier on a computer than it is on that little phone I had. That's funny. My flip phone just wasn't working, Joe. My flip phone wasn't working.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. Best of luck.
Hey, I'm so excited about the show, too. I think it's awesome.
Hey.
Seeing you three faces right here, all that y'all do for college sports in the Triangle, and like I said, I mean every word I said. Y'all's knowledge of all sports is in a sports, area, sports city, sports triangle is pretty cool. So it's good to see y'all. Y'all have a good day and a good weekend.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate that. And Darren, bet you weren't expecting that today,
Darren,
right? See, Darren,
handle this thing on the fly, man.
This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Like my brother texted me yesterday. He's like, "Well, why did you leave? You could edit that out." I go, "That's what I miss about live radio, baby."
Right.
The spontaneity of it all.
We can have the best of both worlds. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's kind of my attitude. Anyway, Darren, we appreciate it, man. Have fun watching the games this weekend.
Of course. We'll do. See you guys.